Das gleiche Motiv.
Da eins noch. Bock. Besser. Hello people, we are in Regensburg, which translates to rainy castle, and it does rain indeed. Ines has a beautiful umbrella.
Yes.
From the hotel.
With dots.
With dots, polka dots. And we are visiting Peter Mario Kreuter, who is an expert in flags. Oh, look at this ghetto style background here in the old town of Regensburg. And yeah, he's also a vampire expert, like me. And we will see what he's going to tell us about flags. Are you interested in flags? Is that something that you have always been asking yourself questions about? Like you, flags are interesting. Watch Peter Mario Kreuter and me. Okay, by now Ines is convinced that it always rains when we're in Regensburg. Is that the case?
It's always raining.
It's always raining. And this is the famous cathedral here in the back. It's renovated right now. It's getting renovated, but you can still get a glimpse of it. It's not as beautiful as Cologne Cathedral, I have to say, but you know, it's a start. Ines, what have you got there? Show us what you got, what you fetched. Oh, show it. People in other countries probably don't know what it is. It's giant fucking pretzels, man. Yeah. This is my giant fucking pretzel that I'm going to eat sooner or later. No, sooner. In a few minutes. And you got 2 small pretzels, right?
Yes, because there was only one big pretzel
Left.
left.
It's for me. PMK is pretty excited. He sent me 20 emails, I think, in the past 2 days. How many did you receive?
I don't know. I don't
Many?
count them.
Too many. Look at this beautiful garden here. Regensburg. Still Regensburg. One thing you probably should know about Regensburg is they have a mushroom, a milk mushroom, where you can have a milk.
Oh, coffee mushroom.
Now it's a coffee mushroom, but it was a milk mushroom before. Yeah.
Do you know the story about milk and mushrooms?
Do you know the story about milk and mushrooms?
Yes, you can a slice of mushroom, like the Fliegenpilz. I don't know the English word. The poison.
Not
mushroom.
poison. Don't say poison.
It's a poison.
It's a little bit hallucinogenic.
It's a poison mushroom. And you can take a slice of the poison mushroom in milk, and then there are coming
Visions. Hallucinations.
No.
Flies.
Flies, and you don't have, and they don't bother you. The flies.
Flies don't bother me. All right. Pretzel is eaten. Pretzels. Did you eat both of your pretzels?
Yes.
And
just little pretzels.
what is the most important thing that you know about flags, except that they are colorful?
Some important things.
What?
Important things.
Interesting things. Something.
They are just a symbol of borders.
Okay. So far.
It's not important
Because you feel being a member of all countries.
Yes.
Yeah. Auch.
Flags are nice.
Also from
It's
Antarctica.
a symbol for the culture, but didn't.
But you also have inside of countries. You have many different cultures, like in big countries, China, Russia.
And you have flags inside countries.
Flags?
Yeah.
Flags.
Symbols.
Ah, yeah, local flags, local
Yes.
flags, local symbols. Yes, that's true. We made it. We're here. And it's still raining.
Raining.
I like it. We're now at PMK's home, and I already found a little booklet. It's the pocket book of German electro locomotives, and it includes what is this?
That's the membership card of an old book club of Germany.
From your mother?
From my mother, yes.
And your mother made you or allowed you to buy this beautiful booklet?
Not only beautiful booklets, also other stuff.
Maybe show what do we have here?
That is the Royal Corps of Transport from the old times when Great Britain still was one of the occupied forces in Germany.
And also when there were obviously good trains in England, because or were they running in Germany?
Germany.
Oh, they were running in Germany because the British train system is not the best always. It's metal, by the way. It's not a plastic model, but it's a metal model.
Yes, and it's from Märklin.
I brought something for PMK since he comes from the Rhine area, the River Rhine in Germany, and it's the very good perfume. It's also supposedly it's healing all types of illnesses. And you say it has something to do with our topic here.
Well, yes, it has. Not with flags, but with anthems, because this famous number 4711, 4711. Was introduced by the French occupied forces after the French Revolution. And because it became so iconic, today there's a carillon at this house in Cologne playing every hour the French national anthem, the Marseillaise.
And also there's 34711 there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, how did PMK become interested in flags? That's a different story, but there are coincidences. Are they? What happened? What do we see here?
Well, what we see here is a metal plate from the St. Hedwig's Cathedral in Berlin, the Catholic Cathedral of Berlin. And we can see at the end of the plate the name of Dr. Josef Würmer, who made a proposal for German national flag after the Second World War, for the time after the end of the Second World War.
And it was accepted?
Well, it was at least discussed. Unfortunately not accepted. And the other name at the top, Rudolf Mandrella, another victim of the Third Reich, executed in 1943. He was the father of my teacher of Catholic religion in Koblenz.
Do you think this is coincidence or is it more like fate or something?
It's interesting.
Finally, we arrived at PMK's home because during the Corona pandemia, most of the offices are not open. So thank you very much for welcoming us. And this is already something very German or Germanish, because from the pattern, some people can tell where it was made.
Exactly. This, for example, is from a small factory near Prague. So we are there in the, let's say, old Danube monarchy, Habsburgic land.
But we want to talk about flags, and you have a PhD in history. Is that correct?
Yes.
But you're also a vampirologist. No, not a vampires, but you know about vampires, but from a historical perspective mostly. And you know about Southeastern Europe because you work in an institute that deals a lot with Southeastern Europe.
Exactly, the Leibniz Institute for Eastern and Southeastern European Studies here in Regensburg.
Here in Regensburg, where we are and where it rains, actually.
Yeah.
And vexillology is something that some people find obscure and boring, but we will show you that it is not, right?
No, it is not. As heraldics, for example, so the art of making and describing a coat of arms, the vexillology is the art of studying flags.
Describing, creating and studying flags. And we start with a flag. These flags were chosen by PMK. And we just printed them out, and they come in random order. So we will see what I get here. This is very blue.
Yes.
And what do we see here?
Well, this is the flag, mainly with the coat of arms of Rijeka or Fiume, or in German, Sankt Veit am Pflaum.
In German, that sounds very...
One of the major cities of Croatia. The city once was also part of the Habsburgic Empire, and this coat of arms dates from 1659, and it shows the double-headed eagle of the Habsburg Empire, holding in his left claw, a kind of amphora, and we see water pouring out into the Adriatic Sea.
So this is the river flowing into the ocean, probably?
Exactly, yes.
And is it one bird with two heads? Do you
Exactly,
understand?
yes.
What does it mean that it has two heads?
Well, the two-headed eagle originated from the Byzantine Empire, and it was a symbol for the two powers of the emperor, power about the world, but also the clerical power.
Religious and worldly
Exactly.
power. And you mentioned before that the eagle is standing on a half island. What half island is that?
We have the Adriatic Sea.
It's a half island means it's connected, still connected to the land. Not
Look
really.
at the coastline of Croatia.
Look at
Isles, half isles, quarter isle. I don't know. There's the coastline is really, really not geometrical at all. So
Fractal. Do you think this is a Roman amphora, or does this not have anything to do with the Romans?
Well, let's say you needed to take something, and as it was in the 17th century, it is quite possible that they said, take something from the Roman Empire. That looks great.
It looks great because the bottles that we know today probably were not around.
No, maybe today we would use cans or something like that.
That's very beautiful. Oh, where does all the blue come from? Because it's so much blue. Does it have a meaning, or is it just the sea?
I think it was just chosen, to mark that it is a city at the Adriatic Sea.
So you see, it doesn't have to be complicated at all.
No.
As soon as you know the symbolic meaning. And now we come to another. Oh, we should probably mention one thing. There are different formats. Could you please hold this for a second? As you can see, this is more broad than this one here. So what is the format here?
That's maybe
1 to 2.
1 to 2, I think. Yes.
Whereas this,
I think it's 3 to 5.
does this have any meaning?
It has, let's say like this, if you don't take the right format, it is not the flag you want to describe. It is like in Germany, when you sing today the first stanza of the Lied der Deutschen, you don't sing the national anthem, because since 1991, only the third stanza is the official text.
So it's just a traditional thing, and it was decided upon, and then you have to deal with it. Which country is this?
Well, we are here in Canada, to be precisely. This is the flag of New Brunswick.
Where is the leaf that we usually connect with the Canadian flag?
It's not there because the provinces and territories of Canada have their own flags with their own historical tradition. What we see here, for example, in the upper part is a leopard. It's not a lion, it's a leopard, because a lion is rampant and looks in the direction of the way he's walking.
So he would have to look into this direction then.
Then, yes, then he and he has to be rampant. Yes, and this he's walking and looks on you. So this is a leopard. And here we see, yes, a kind of antique ship in direction to New Brunswick.
It looks a little bit as if this would be driven by slaves or something, but they were not around at that point when people were
not at
entering
all.
there.
Not at all. This is an old flag, clearly in the tradition of European heraldics, and therefore, let's call it. It's not a kind of ship used to go to Canada.
So it's a symbolic ship,
exactly,
and without actual details that were really used on the ship that was floating over the seas. And the same probably with the leopard here. What does the leopard mean?
This leopard in this style is a leopard of Brunswick-Wolfenbüttel.
Which is a region or a city in Germany.
Exactly, and we should not forget it's also the region more or less where the kings, the so-called Georgian kings, came from. So from 1714 to Queen Victoria, it was the House of Hanover, and that was connected to also this region.
But when you go to Brunswick nowadays, you see lions everywhere and not leopards. So what's the deal?
The deal is that the lion historically was the animal that was shown the coat of arms, and for what reason ever, one day the head turned. Sometimes you just can't call why.
we have to live with the fact that not everything can be known. Probably some knowledge is lost about the flag.
And you should not forget, I mean, when you look at it, you would call it lion, I think, when you see all that. But a lion looking at you is called leopard in the historical science.
And in the vexillological sciences,
Yes.
probably too. Very beautiful. And the sea has the flag of Argentina in it, but that's randomly as a chance.
Yes, random.
There we go. The flags were all chosen by PMK beforehand, and I have no idea why he chose that. So we will learn about that.
So now we need two. The next one also.
Oh.
So, because here we have something very interesting. This is the flag of South Africa, used up to 1994. So this is the flag when South Africa was the country of apartheid. Yeah?
Where people of different ethnic backgrounds were separated from each other.
So it is basically the Dutch flag with another, not red but orange in the upper part, and showing the flags of three territories or three states being important for the history of South Africa. The Union Jack, yes, then the Free State of Oranje and Transvaal.
Okay, so why is this switched upwards?
Just for practical reasons, having three flags in a row, just in a row, would be a bit boring.
Would you think that would be boring? Is it better this way? I'm not sure.
I think it's interesting with one flag in the middle, so but
also more chaotic. What do you think? Would you prefer it to have it straight in a line, or do you think it was a good decision to do it like this?
For me, this was a good decision.
Oh, and maybe if you don't know, orange is the color that all the people from the Netherlands consider to be their color. It's oranje is a big thing when it comes to soccer or when it comes to the king and queen.
Yeah, exactly.
They consider orange to be their color. Is it considered to be gold, or is it really orange?
Orange.
Orange, not gold.
No, not gold. Yellow is the color which is used to replace gold for practical reasons. This orange is something special.
Do you think it comes from when they had colonies and they brought in oranges, or does it not have to do anything with real oranges?
It has to do with the French town of Orange, because there are the origins of that family.
There you go. Mm-hmm. That's very beautiful. And now you said we need both flags.
Yes, because when South Africa, finally abolished apartheid and a new state was created, there was the need for a new flag. I mean, this flag is beautiful. The flag itself is innocent, but unfortunately, a flag also stands for something, and this stands also for apartheid. Therefore, a new flag was needed, and why not? Yes, make a combination of the colors from this flag with the colors of the ANC and the Pan-African movement, which are black, green and yellow.
Get a little bit closer, because maybe you can see that there's a green stripe here and a yellow stripe.
And the fantastic point of this flag is that there is something in heraldics and vexillology you should know. You cannot mix together colors, which are, for example, blue or red or green, and metals, which are gold and silver. By the way, I use those words. In English, you would speak about or and argent and sable and gules and something like that, coming from the French tradition. We use the classical words. And here you can see that it was perfectly made. Color, metal, color, metal, color, color, all separated.
So white stands for silver, is that right? And this stands for gold.
Exactly.
Why can they not touch? What's wrong when silver and gold would touch? What would happen?
That was reserved for just two people, for the Pope and the King of France.
And in those cases, the metals could match?
Yes.
Do you know why? Do you have any idea why?
Because they are the most noble things you can use for a flag or for a coat of arms, and therefore it was reserved for those.
Wow. It's a very interesting flag, very unique, and I think everybody would recognize it today. But you said it's a relatively young flag, from 1995 then probably.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, it's quite colorful. 6 different colors, or 4 colors, 2 metals, yes, but let's say 6 colors. But made in a very, very clever way.
So you are satisfied with the decision that this flag was made at that point?
Yeah, especially satisfied that they finally made this flag, because they couldn't mix up it all up. And no, that is really good. Yeah.
Would you like to be in a commission one day in which a new flag is created? Would that be yes? You would like that very much. If you know somebody who needs a new flag and it's an official state flag, please call it PMK. He would very much like to do that. This one looks to me like the Holy Jacobus, maybe walking over the pilgrim's way to Spain. But no, that's not.
For
the case.
Jacobus, the pilgrim's shell is missing. No, this is also another pilgrim. This is this Fridolin. He lived in the 6th century, and this, what you see here, is the flag of the Swiss canton of Glarus.
6th, not 16th, right? 6th century.
Yes. And as you can see, it is completely, it's rectangular.
Why is that? You said before in Switzerland they meant...
It's a tradition in Switzerland, yes.
Do you know why?
Yes, it's firstly, it's a complete difference to the flags and traditions of the other territories. Don't forget, Switzerland was, in that time already, or the Swiss territories, the Swiss cantons, have been non-aristocratic, nearly republican systems. And secondly, they have a tradition of flag swinging. And you can swing flags better when they are rectangular.
I understand. How since many people are probably not Christians who are watching this program, so how do we recognize what this is? So this is something,
a
nimbus that is considered to be showing that you are a holy or a good person, especially in Catholics. This is
the Bible,
the holy book of Christians, and this is not what some of the people carrying who have a high rank, a hierarchical rank. But this is really just a pilgrim's stick. The pilgrim stick was mostly used not only so that you can walk more easily, but also that you can hit dogs, wild dogs. Because when you are a true pilgrim and do a pilgrimage through Europe, you will encounter a lot of dogs.
Yeah. And I have chosen this flag especially because there's a connection now between our interests. The history is the following one. Fridolin came to the land which we know today as Glarus in Switzerland, south of Zurich.
County? Is it a county?
No, it's a state. It would be more a state. So for the US it would be a state or Bundesland or something like that. And, which is quite important, yes, he came there. And a peasant, farmer if you so want, called Ursus, gave him a lot of land in his last will. So Fridolin started to build a monastery. But unfortunately, the brother of the now deceased Ursus, Landolf, came and claimed this land to be his own, asking for the last will in written form, which did not exist. So it was settled a day of court. Fridolin was asked to prove that Ursus really gave him the land as present in his last will. What to do? He needed a witness, someone who would do a testimony to the court. So went to the courtyard. He went to the courtyard. To the cemetery. Called Ursus. He raised from his grave, half rotten, went to the court, testified that his last will was to give this land to Fridolin. Then he went back to the cemetery.
And rested in peace.
Yes.
Finally. How do you think the decision was made, what his not last will, but his after death will was? Do you think that somebody spoke for him, sitting next to him, or how do you think this was decided?
After the legend, he testified himself. He was asked by the judge, and he answered. And
it was actually, there are many reports that really corpses were put in a seat, and probably it was just like an involuntary movement of the decomposing corpse, or maybe animals, we don't know. There are no, I have not seen reports, but I've seen reports that dead people were called as witnesses inside of the courtroom. Yeah, that happened. you think that, or would you agree that it would be more beautiful if there was a decomposing corpse in the flag?
Yeah, or nice skeleton, you're saying. Oh.
So if this will ever be redone, we will ask for a decomposing corpse or a skeleton, or both, maybe, in the flag. It's a nice one. Have you ever seen a holy person that has like, this light around his head or her head?
Are they holy persons?
Post it under this video. Have you ever seen a holy person? Are there holy persons? The next one, oh, that's another nice one. Is this 1 to 2 or not? Let's make the test. Unbelievable. It's 1 to 2, right?
Yes.
It doesn't look like it because the stripes make it. It's an optical illusion. Make it look much longer than it actually is. This is not the flag of Austria.
Not at all.
Not at all. And it's also a pretty dark red. Is this correctly printed?
It is. It is the so-called Baltic or Lettonian red, because this is the flag of Latvia.
Let's maybe have a look at the happy red that we usually see, so that you can see the difference. That's a flag that we will probably encounter later on. That's a happy red. That is also a happy red.
Yes.
So you can see this reminds me a little bit of blood. Does it have anything to do with blood?
Yes, at least it is said to have some connection to blood. This flag was adopted in 1918 when Latvia became an independent or tried to become an independent state. Independence was finally settled with all signatures in 1920, but technically already in 1980 after the First World War. And the red was, the white stands for the people and the history, and red for the blood that was shed to become an independent state. And they have chosen this special kind of red that to have a certain resemblance to, let's say, dry blood.
As you know, it contains iron. Blood contains iron, so it becomes darker when the oxygen from the air is reacting with the blood. So, and you said the white means the people?
Yes.
Why?
It is always different which color should symbolize whatever. So in this case, it was said it's the people.
Innocent, white people. So a very unusual flag. Could I use it this way, or is it not allowed?
That is also possible. Yes.
And what does it mean if I hang it down, or does it
just for practical reasons? Yes. Normally, a flag, of course, would be used like this, but you can have also versions where you can, use a flag in this hanging kind. You only should then pay attention on symbols which are additionally on the flag, like a coat of arms or whatever you have.
Maybe we have an example for that later.
Yes.
No flag swinging with this flag probably, because if you swing that, then you will entangle your flag with someone else's flag. Maybe.
I'm sure.
The Swiss format is probably better here when it comes to flag swinging.
You see, there are also practical reasons for flags.
Yeah, not only symbolic reasons. This seems to be quite out of order. Probably some people know this from motorsports, as I don't know, I've seen that in the sports shows, but this looks like a Christian cross, but it's repeated. What's going on here?
Well, here we have a flag from the United States of America. Of course, every state has its own flag, coat of arms, and so on and so on. And this is the flag of Maryland. And the interesting point is that Maryland is the only state in the USA where you have a flag and coat of arms basing on European traditions. Most flags are in the United States were the result of, for example, public committee who have chosen from different ideas, or are dating back, for example, to flags used in the 19th century, for example, from the Civil War or whatever. This here is very old. And it shows the coat of arms of the two families who finally created Maryland, the Calverts and the Crosslands.
That doesn't sound very German. I thought many Germans also went over to the United States, but...
not to Maryland.
Not to Maryland. These were British people.
They were British people. And because it would be very unpractical to use just one of each, resulting in a very long and very They just doubled it and double crossed it. So,
don't you think this would have been a possibility?
but then you have no, because the cross then is in the wrong position. This would have been a possibility, but you see now the problem.
What do you mean the cross is in the wrong position? Why does the cross have to be laying and not being upwards?
Because the white part has to be in the upper right part. The upper right part seen from me, from the one who is describing it. So this is the upper right part, and there has to be the white part of the flag with the red part of the cross.
Why does the white have to be in the top right? It's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. This look means don't ask any further. So. This is really an interesting example. So you can see that sometimes a compromise is possible, and even if it's an unusual compromise. Does this exist anywhere else in the world? This doubling of the flag?
That is quite typical. Yes, it's nothing really special. It's very European.
It's very European to find a compromise. Oh, speaking of Europe.
Oh yes, genau.
This looks like one of the most typical European cities. XXX. If you are from Europe, you probably know what it is. If you're not from Europe, you would probably think it's a fantasy flag or something that doesn't exist. It comes from formerly very, very important city. Now it's also still important, but it was much more important. What do we have here?
This is the flag of the city of Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Yes.
Yeah, and why do they have X's? Are these also Christian crosses?
Well, yes, you can say that are St. Andrew's crosses. There is a saying that the three crosses should prevent fire, flood, and the plague. But actually, we really don't know why this flag or this coat of arms, like this is the coat of arms, there is no family in Amsterdam, the Persines, which have in use all of this kind of St. Andrew's crosses, but
you never know. But maybe it helped. I mean, do you think that there were floods in Amsterdam, or do you think they're too far away from the ocean? You think that there were floods?
Yes, and also fires, and there was also the plague.
Shit.
Yes.
And
in 1940 came the Germans. So all three in one, let's say.
Yeah.
It was not...
You're also using those colors, by the way. The Germans were also using those colors at that point. So it didn't really help. But it's a beautiful and widespread type of symbol. And I got it in Amsterdam, actually. There it is. There it is. I got a tattoo in the Red Light District in Amsterdam. And of course, it's very boring for a tattoo artist in Amsterdam to do it. But hey, they did it for me. Yeah. And I think many tourists are connected through the crosses with the city. Do you like this? Again, a little bit unusual design?
Of course. And I have to say, I also like the fact that we don't really know the history behind it. It's fantastic to have things which we maybe never ever really would know, and that even gives you more pleasure in finding out the things we can know.
And may find out in future.
Who knows? Yes.
And that comes from a person who studied the historic sciences. So you're not sad that sometimes knowledge is lost. It just happens, right?
It happens, yes. And on the other hand, you also gain knowledge.
Exactly. Well, it's really a very, very interesting flag. By the way, we should probably mention the difference between the flag and once it becomes attached to a stick. So that also makes a difference in vexillological sciences. So what's the difference? As soon as it's attached to a stick?
It's just attached to a stick, but then it's absolutely clear in which manner the colors are.
Which direction
exactly
they go. So how would I find out in this case? Let's say I've never seen the flag. I would have to check where it is sewn so that I can attach it to the flag. So I didn't know that. So that's another method to find out what's going on. Let's see what else we've...
Yes.
Many people probably know this from if you're a soccer fan. Because it comes from one of the nations that also love soccer very much.
Yes.
And it's also a flag that can be recognized very quickly, but you said it's unusual because there are some small symbols spreading.
Yes, normally you don't use this tiny, very detailed symbols on flags, because when it's 100 meters away.
You cannot read probably. What does it say in the...
Ordnung and Progresso. Ordnung und Fortschritt.
Order and progress.
Exactly.
Order and progress. This is the flag of Brazil.
Yes, it is.
It looks kind of modernish, but not too modern. From when is it?
No, so the basic idea is already from the 19th century. The main idea comes from the Brazilian Empire. In the 19th century, Brazil was an empire, just with two emperors, Peter I and Peter II.
Like his name, he's also a Peter.
Yes. And when Peter II was overthrown on 15th November 1889, this was the constellation of the stars in that night on the sky over Rio de Janeiro.
It's probably still looking like that, but maybe not in all details, but it's...
I'm sure Lastrom would tell you some differences, but very, very tiny ones. So 4 days later, this flag was adopted to celebrate the day of the end of the empire and the beginning of the republic in Brazil.
So many people probably ask, why is there an emperor with a German name in Brazil? What's his
Well, it was Dom Pedro, of course.
Aha!
And yes.
Emperor Dom Pedro.
Yes.
There we go. Where did they come from? Where did his family come from?
Like the modern history of Brazil, it is connected to Portugal, and therefore you see also the green is the main color of the dynasty of Braganza. Yellow stands for Habsburg, because the first empress was from the Habsburg dynasty. And before we had here also a coat of arms in the middle of it. So the main idea was already there, just the details changed when the republic was founded.
People in Brazil, of course, speak still Portuguese, not Spanish. There we go. It's an interesting flag, really. But this is one of a kind, right? Well, we have stars in the United States.
Yes, but they are in a completely different, very, very symmetric order there.
And larger.
And they represent a state. Here we really have the stars in the sky.
They represent a date, not a state.
A state.
No.
Technically, you are right.
It represents a date.
Yes, exactly. The day later, it was also not exactly the same.
Okay, once again, is it 1 to 2 or not? Again, we fold it. Bam! It doesn't look like it, but it's 1 to 2. This, on the first glance, it looks very, unusual. This is a very modern drawing, like ligne claire, with a friendly. Is it a lion or is it a leopard? What is it this time?
Well, that's quite complicated, but we'll call it a lion.
Okay, well, I'll show it to you. Why is it a lion in this case?
In this case, I really have to say it has a completely unusual position. Sitting and holding the coat of arms. Now, that is...
That is one of a kind. Yeah. And then we have a ship.
Yes.
And the ship is in the middle of the ocean, a very wild ocean. And it seems as if it would smash into a rock or the coastline. Is that the case?
It does.
Why?
Well, this is the flag of Bermuda.
Where today airplanes and everything else disappears.
Yes.
So is that relating to the disappearing airplanes?
No, this is in connection to a real history, to a real ship that wrecked there at the Bermuda Islands. And the whole composition is quite typical for territories who once or still belong to some kind to the United Kingdom. May they be a British overseas territory, or may they be, for example, a Commonwealth realm. This is the red ensign. There is also the blue ensign, with the bluish color, and the basic color. For example, Australia use it, or New Zealand.
Is it again for blood? Is it blood red, or do you know?
Yes, I think.
Lots of blood.
Why have so much soldiers red tunics? Because you don't see so much blood when they are shot down, and that is not so shocking.
Oh, good gosh.
Yeah.
Why is there in the upper corner, why is the Union Jack there?
Well, it was used in the British Navy, and in this upper right corner you have the Union Jack, upper right, because even the flag is very fluffy.
Let's say it would hang like this.
You still can recognize that it's the Union Jack.
Oh, maybe you should explain why this is upper right. Why is it called upper
because
right?
In heraldics, we describe a flag always from the view of the one who is holding a flag or coat of arms. And then for me, when I look through it, this is upper right. So our left is my right, and my left is.
You're right. And you said formerly, sometimes probably not this one here, but the flags or the emblems or whatever symbols were sewn on an actual coat or an actual dress.
Of the herald, exactly. And he walked in front of a sovereign, and the variation of the coat of arms he has had on his special coat, yes, that was the official one. And from that coat, the coat of arms was described.
Would you like to be a herald for a day, maybe for?
You think I would like the best uniform I know is the state uniform of the leading musicians of the foot guards of the Queen. You see with the jogging-like cap and the wonderful sash they have. That is great.
But that's not a herald. That's just the lead musician.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Are you a musical person? You know a lot of anthems, national anthems, but can you also play an instrument?
No.
But he knows how many national anthems do you know? A lot.
A lot, and I can speak even about more than I can sing.
Do you know more than 100 national anthems?
Yes.
Wow. But that's a different story. If you want to hear about his love for national anthems, post it under the video, and probably we'll give you more of that. Oh, this is a nice one. Now comes a nice one. This is something that. I start with the legend, the nonsense legend, and then we come to the reality. So allegedly, the people from the city think that each of the black structures are flames. I don't know why they think that flames are black, and that each of them is 1,000 dead virgins. What the hell?
Well, what you see here is the flag of the city of Cologne.
My home city.
Yes, and the colors, red and yellow, are chosen.
Red and white.
Red and white.
Yeah.
Red and white. Red and white are chosen because the city was one of the founding cities of the Hanseatic Pact. This trading community of cities around the Baltic Sea and even far away from the Baltic Sea, beginning in the 12th century. In Cologne, even though it was at the Baltic Sea, but in the Rhineland, was one of the founding cities. The three crowns, they are linked to the skeletons, which are today, or allegedly skeletons, of the three mages which formerly had been in Milan and have been transferred in the 12th century to Cologne.
So these are the crowns of the holy three kings from the Bible. The original kings. If you don't know the story, it's in the Bible, and it says that the stars told three noble men, kings, to bring presents to Jesus when he was born. And now the reliquaries, or whatever it's called, so the remains, are in the Cologne Cathedral, allegedly. Okay. And if you look at the fibers from what they were wearing at that point, you cannot disprove it. It cannot be disproven. It's very old stuff, and it's a beautiful shrine, all in gold, redone. So that is that. But what's the story about 11,000 dead virgins?
Well, it's the history of St. Ursula, who allegedly was murdered with 11,000 virgins or young ladies on the shore of the Rhine by the Huns, that is said. Well, it is more practical, that are 11 tales.
In reality, because once noble people, very rich people would wear a fur coat made out of a certain animal, and it produces this pattern here. Exactly. I think the head of the University of Cologne, as far as I remember, because I studied there, is still wearing a coat, like once a year for an occasion that looks like this. So this is, in reality, it's just a noble coat. But if you ask anybody in Cologne, they would tell you these are the 11,000 dead virgins. And the Hanse thing is interesting because the Rhine River is a very huge river, one of the two largest rivers in Europe, but it's really not at the ocean, whereas all the other trade cities are up in the north at the ocean.
Most of them, yes, they are.
They
have, for example, Novgorod in nowadays Russia was also a Hanseatic city, but most of them at the coastline or quite close to the coast.
So in this case, we don't know if this is blood and the people or something else. It's probably just easy to identify. We don't know that. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Do you like the color? The flag?
Yes.
He also comes from the Rhine area, a little bit more to the south, but still from the cultural region.
Yes.
Yeah,
we need two.
We need two.
The next one.
Yes. This looks very unusual. Is that, which color is that? Green?
Yes.
But it looks like, is this correctly printed or should it more like grass green?
It should be more like grass green, but it works for our
purposes. Yeah.
This is, yes, as you can see, we are here in communist times.
For those who don't know, the communists believed in the workers, so the hammer and the cutting instrument, they were considered to be sickle for farmers who are cutting grass or whatever wet and for wet production. And the hammer is of course for like using on a nail or steel workers, and the star, I don't know, but it's also a communist symbol.
Yes.
There we go.
Well, and what we see here, that was the flag of one of the states in the USSR. It was the Moldovan Socialist Soviet Republic.
Where is that? In the north, west, south, east?
This is in the southwest. So we are here in the border country of this was, and in a certain way it is still today, Romania.
So it's close to Europe and not close to Japan.
To Romania, close to the Black Sea. There we are. And the Soviet Union used just this red color with those symbols, and every socialist republic got an own flag based on this with some special symbol. In this case it was a green stripe.
Was it mostly just a stripe on the red? Or
yes, that's it. Other had a blue stripe or here, or maybe blue stripe there, or different ways, but always a very simple manner. So, and when in 1991 the Soviet Union crashed and was overturned, Moldavia became independent and is nowadays known as the Republic Moldova, using a flag which is quite similar to the Romanian one, so blue, yellow, red, with a coat of arms in the middle. Unfortunately, a part of this country separated. Let's say not without any reason, no details,
political reasons,
and they just used then a new flag which looks like this.
Damn, that looks pretty similar, does it not?
It looks pretty similar, and now it comes. On the Soviet flags, this symbol here was only on one side. On the back side, it lapped. So technically the flag of the so-called Transnistrian Republic, how this separate part is called, is the back side of this one.
It was the back side. Because the Soviet people did not want to have the hammer and the sickle being mirrored.
Mm.
Yeah. Wow. So now you're talking about Transnistria and about Moldavia, is that right? Moldavia. So this was one country before.
That was once a republic in the Soviet Union. Yes.
One republic.
Yes.
And now this one republic is split into two.
Exactly.
Are these two official countries?
No, this Transnistrian Republic is only recognized by Russia.
Do you recognize it personally?
Let's say I recognize every flag because it would be not suitable for historian to make political decisions on things which belong to the area of heraldics.
But would you say that every region that has its own flag has its own autonomy, or
no, not at all. Look at the of course some let's say some autonomy in several cases, but look at that every state in the United States has its own flag because they are semi-autonomous entities. But they are not independent, they are part of the United States.
Independent-ish.
Well,
Oh, this is also another one, very beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But very not chaotic. It's not the true term. So first, Ines, we asked you: are these leopards, lions? What do you think this is?
Leopards.
How do you know?
Because they walk and they look at you.
Is that true?
Yes.
It's a leopard. But don't leopards have like, I don't know, stripes or dots or something on their bodies usually? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, but no. Yes, but no.
But we are here not in the realistic world. So,
Not in
we
the
have to say, the flag, officially the flag of this territory would be this one, the French one.
Oh, no, that makes sense. Yeah, like this. Oh, did we say which country this is?
It comes now. This is not a country, this is a part of the French overseas territory. This is Saint-Pierre-et-Miquelon. So we are at the coastline of Canada.
So the people there speak French and not English as we had it before.
And what we see here on the main part is, the depiction of a ship called Grande Hermine. It was the ship with the first settlers who came to Saint-Pierre-et-Miquelon. And this right part, for your left, but for the right part, you see the flags or the coat of arms, maybe better that, of 3 territories where the settlers came from. The Basque country, which is in Spain, Brittany, La Bretagne, which is France. Again, you see this nice black tail, and the Normandy.
So these what have been flames in the Cologne flag are now, I don't know what does it look like a little plant or something, but it's the same fur
Yes.
that produces the black and white pattern. And how do you know the name of the ship? How is that known? You looked that up in the history?
Yes, you know a lot of names of ships. For example, you know the name of the ship the Pilgrim Fathers came to the United States, the Mayflower. Or, you know, for example, the first space shuttle, even if it did never ever fly through the space, it was used for training purposes, but it's the Enterprise, of course.
Of
So you know, names like the name of the names of important ships are always brought to us.
Kept in history, written down,
Yes.
and since you are a professional historian, you of course the ship doesn't look to me as if it would make the way over the Atlantic Ocean. Is it more a symbolic?
Yes, to be sure it is symbolic and depicts the original ship only very, very basically.
But do you think this is too chaotic, or do you approve of the flag?
You see, in former times that was a kind of flag you would never ever use. It would be more like this. But we live in modern times, and times are changing. We are changing.
So you're saying it's a modern flag?
Yes,
At the end of the day, yeah, more colorful, more motives, more bling bling.
Yeah.
More bling bling. Oh, this is unusual. I'll show you why. Most of you won't know, but this. Every German person would recognize it as the German flag.
Yes.
Black, red, and gold. So how do I know that this is not orange, like we heard before from the Dutch?
Because
flag
it's
of the
an
Netherlands?
orange, it's yellow, and yellow is used to replace gold.
Why don't people ever use actual gold in the flags? What's the price? Is it too expensive, or?
That is, of course, an explanation. It is expensive.
And you probably also you said it reflects. And
Yes, metals like gold or silver reflect very heavily. So normally you see a lot of depictions, for example, in books where you actually see gold, but for the practical use you have the yellow.
Do you know what it stands for? Or the black especially, because we haven't seen that before.
Schwarz ist das Pulver, rot ist das Blut, golden leuchtet die Freiheit. Black is the powder, red is the blood. Golden shines the
liberty.
Liberty, yeah.
Liberty. So if you didn't know before what liberty looks like, liberty is golden. Why not silver?
Well, it is said that this is a depiction. Technically, these are the colors of the uniform of military corps that fought against Napoleon.
So maybe again practical reasons, like in soccer.
The Italian flag has its origin in the colors of the municipal guard of Milan.
So there you go. Again, sometimes it's just practical. And now we see something unusual. So it's probably not the country flag. But
Well,
it's a sub-flag.
It is the flag of the German Bundesland, or the state of Rhineland-Pfalz, Rhineland-Palatinate, made from...
not the British flag. If you know the British flag, the British flag is red and white. But that's
this is the flag of the electorate of Trier. This is the electorate of Mainz and the electorate of the Palatinate. So the electors have been those princes in the empire, in former times, in very former times, who had the right to elect the king and later on the Roman German Empire.
How former are these times?
We speak that so. Written down in a very clear way. It was in 1356.
That's a long time ago. Older than we both are, and we are old already.
Yeah.
Now, why is there a wheel? That is unusual to see a wheel.
Yes, it is said that the father of the Archbishop Williges, who was one of the main persons in the history of this electorate, was a wheel maker.
And so it's to honor his father.
Yeah,
that's a nice idea. And this looks like a crown, but an unusual crown.
Yes,
Let's look like flowers.
And then are the leaves of wine.
Oh, well, nice. Why is that?
Well, Rhineland-Pfalz, Rhineland-Palatinate, the Rhine, the Mosel River.
There, a lot of wine comes from here, and you cannot see that, but PMK has many bottles of wine standing over here, because when you come from these areas, you just live in the middle of mountain is not mountains, very small mountainish areas.
That's called hills and valleys.
Hills mostly, because the valleys are filled with the river, but water. And the Romans brought the wine to the areas where the Romans went, because they came from very warm regions where wine drinking was normal, and then they came up to the north and they missed their wine, but here in the Rhine area they could grow the wine. Are you satisfied with the swing of the black swing? How come? Why do you like this?
Well, you have to combine three coat of arms into one. And I think even for getting a good proportion with the shape of this rampant lion, it was clever.
Well chosen, instead of just making straight lines or something like that. So this is beautiful. And does every German region or county or state have their own flag like this?
Yes.
Yeah. What would happen if I, let's say, for practical reasons, would hang the flag down now? Where would I put it? To the right here or to the right here? Or is there any system?
Yes, they would hang it like this, and then the coat of arms would be here.
Why would black have to be on this side?
Upper side or right side?
Because you said the right side is somehow more important than the left side.
Yes.
Do you know why? Because the heart is in the middle, or many people think it's on the left. So why is the right hand an important hand? Or
exactly, it has to do with the right side. Go to the Latin language. Right is dexter, and left is sinister. And sinister also means gloomy,
evil, probably even.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why you are right. Or sinister.
Yes.
What do you like more, Ines? Right or sinister? She's smiling. I don't want to know. I think I know the answer.
I can maybe make an educated guess. Oh yes, that's a great flag.
That is actually really a very unexpected and very great flag. It has a purple parrot in the middle. What the hell is going on? Is this something that is tropical or?
Yes, we are here. Let's say we are here in the Caribbean Sea. This is the flag of Dominica.
Where is that? Maybe for people.
A small island, part of the I think it's called Lower Antilles in English.
So very tropical.
Yes, it's tropical. The green stands for the island. The cross for the faith. The
Christian faith.
Yes,
right?
of course. The three colors here in the cross stand for the three main, let's say, people. Don't want to use the word race, but maybe that is meant from former days.
People used the term before. Yeah.
Yes, for the whites, the blacks, and the mixed.
And many Europeans would think that yellow stands for people, let's say, I mean, we don't think that, but formerly from China or Asia, but that is not the case here.
No.
So you see, even that can have a totally different meaning. So be very careful.
The stars for the provinces, and this parrot is a kind of parrot only existing on this island.
We looked it up, and there's not much known. In Wikipedia, it even says it's feeding from seeds and stuff. so probably not many zoologists look at it. Now, some people who watch the program would probably connect the green color to Islam, but that has nothing to do with it in this case.
No, not at all. It is the color of the Prophet Muhammad. And therefore, a lot of flags from Islamic countries, not at all, but some of them use very have a very clear use of the green color for their flag, for example, Saudi Arabia. But no, in this case, no, not at all. Green is also take the flag of Italy.
Yeah. Also,
we have also green.
And also the parrot has also green in its feathers. There are many types of green. Ines, how many shades of green do you know? Many. Apple green, grass green.
Because green is a color we can see very good. It's one of the best seen colors.
You can see green. So post under this video how many types of green you know. What else do we have? What do we have? Apple, all types of trees, grass. What else?
Frogs.
Frog green. What the heck? Are frogs green or are they brown? Post it under this video. Or blue. Yeah, exactly. Or sometimes red with red dots.
Yes.
That's true. Poison frogs. Jesus. How did you come up with the flag? I mean, as a child, were you looking through books, or how did you?
Yes, of course. There are a lot of interesting books about flags.
Flags and coats of arms of planet Earth. This is the lexicon of coat of arms. This is a complex one. Since we were speaking about complex flags, what is this an actual flag or is it just a book cover?
No, that was the coat of arms of the Austrian, let's say, emperor.
Why is it so complicated?
Every territory he possessed was represented in this coat of arms.
And again, you see the bird with the two heads that we already saw before. It's also in the coat of arms of Cologne, by the way, but not in the one that you saw. What's the difference between a coat of arms and a flag?
The flag is made from another material. Flags are much older. Flags date from the Roman times. And flags are especially used to be seen on a wide distance.
From a wider
distance. While the coat of arms is more complex and underlines the whole possessions of a prince, a territory, whatever it is.
Do you read that at night in the bed or before you go to sleep? Or
sometimes yes.
Sometimes yes. Why do we have a French flag here, by the way? Because we are sitting in Bavaria, in Germany.
Yes, this flag here was the first birthday present I got from my later wife.
So if you know somebody who's interested in flags, you better, find a good gift. And you were happy with the gift, of course.
I am.
You still are.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
So there we go.
Aha. Oh, yes.
Aha. We have to, let's say you watch this video 2030. Then maybe you don't know what this mask is about. We are in the middle of the Corona pandemia and we can only sit next to each other legally because we are two households. And right now it is allowed that two households sit next to each other without a mask, a face mask, to avoid the spread of the pandemia. How do you know which way the flag goes and your mask goes? How do you know that the white cross goes to the right? No, but I mean, how do you know it doesn't go this way?
Because this is a flag of Denmark, and the flag of Denmark is like this. You just know it, you learn it when you describe a flag.
When you read books at night about flags, for example. And why is it not symmetrical? So why didn't they put the bar straight in the middle?
Also, we don't know it exactly. It was maybe really made because you can see the main idea of the flag even on a ship.
Maybe you can show it with that.
Yes,
flag.
when there is no like this, it is absolutely clear. But when you don't have any movement in the air at all, you still see it better when it is not so centered, but a little bit.
Did you do that yourself, the little flag?
No, I bought it in 1992.
Wow. Why? How? Where?
I was in Denmark.
When? So it was a souvenir. It's beautifully done.
Yes, it is. Yes, I don't know who made it, but it was handmade. Yes.
Most people don't probably know, especially when you come from any other country, that Denmark, maybe if you know Denmark at all, you probably just know it as a very small country, not many people living there and so on. But that was not always the case.
And yes.
Rainy, yeah. But it was, would you call it an empire? It was powerful.
In some kind, it was an empire. So in the 11th, 12th century, even up to the 15th century, you can say, most parts of Northern Europe, and in the 11th century, even parts of nowadays England, have been a part of Denmark.
Yeah, it was. Do the Vikings come from Denmark or no?
Also from Denmark, but also from Norway, for example. But let's say when you identify Vikings with Danes, at least you are not on the wrong path.
Are there any German Vikings? Because some Germans think that Vikings come from Germany. Probably not. That's a no. If you think that you are Viking offspring, then probably you are not, at least not in Germany. Another country that uses red and white was also a very huge empire, Poland. Most people just know that Poland is now not the richest country on the planet, but it also was a huge structure and empire.
And tolerant. The Polish kingdom, of course, was Catholic, but if you have been not Catholic, why not?
You could still get a go.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is sadly not the case in some countries where religion plays such a big role that you better adopt the religion there, and we don't know exactly why.
And now again.
What? I don't see any resemblance here.
Yes, you're right. But just for a moment, turn it
like this.
Like that. Yes.
Aha. Okay, we have a little bit of white, red, and blue.
Yes.
What country is this flag from? Or which city?
This is the flag with the coat of arms of
the city of love,
Paris. Yes. What we see here. Maybe it's not that important to know all the detail where they come from. Important is that the city used blue, which comes from this part of the coat of arms, and red. And when in the French Revolution the need of a new flag was obviously there.
When was that? French? Not everybody.
14th July 1789. And later on.
And some rolling heads later on.
Yes. So they combined the colors of the city of Paris with the silver, white color from the flag of the kings of France. So the French tricolor is the combination of the, let's say, Republican revolutionary city and the traditional color of the kings.
But why did the revolutionaries use colors that came from the kings? Because they did not like the kings, did they?
Well, first of all, it was a constitutional monarchy, and Louis XVI, who later on suffered a little bit of choppy, was constitutional king, and therefore there was a need to combine this now constitutional monarchy with some revolutionary element.
Is that a historically correct technical term, choppy?
Maybe not historically correct, but I think we all know.
Bodily correct.
Yes.
These are leaves and fruits from an oak tree,
yes.
And at least Germans would absolutely think that oak trees symbolize Germany. But again,
no, it is not. It is trees. Not on every corner of the world, but some kind of trees are very, very known in a lot of countries.
They don't care about the country.
Exactly. They have absolutely no interest in being racist or nationalist at all.
Yeah, and do you know which type of plant this might be? It has little red fruits.
I really have to think about how it's called in English, but you see the point is you can use also olive branches, for example, for a symbol of peace. There is a huge variety of, let's say, floral elements which are used.
The lilies over here, for example.
Yes, fleur de lis, also in English. They are, of course, the symbol for the French monarchy. The ship was used for Paris because the guild of the ship owners was the most powerful in Paris, and therefore their coat of arms came into the country. And even the Latin one, fluctuat nec mergitur, even if thrown on the waves, it will not
Sink.
Exactly, it's so simple. Yeah.
And again, the ship here looks a little bit like a C on the side. I mean, the letter C, but it's again a symbolic ship. Or do you think it may have looked like this for this is this is a ship for rivers, not for the ocean. But do you think it may have looked like this?
The main idea of the ship may have been like this.
A little bit.
Yes.
And maybe for those who don't like or read Latin a lot, for me it says FLVCTVAT, but you said fluctuat.
Yes.
So why is the V a U?
The U we know today as the graphic symbol is much younger. And in former times it was used like this.
And you know that because if you mimic German, for example, if you want to make fun of the both of us and of our English, then you would mix the F and the V, of course, and then you would already have a strong German accent in English.
That was not funny.
Very nice. And is this a pandemia face mask here? No, probably not.
And now you are getting silly.
Yes, now I'm getting silly, and Germans don't like silly.
No, not at all.
I'm German to be silly. It is again, now I understand, I know the orientation. This is probably the important upper right, correct? Yeah.
And unfortunately, the printer made a mistake. There should be 12 stars. But for the rest, it's correct. This is the flag of Uzbekistan.
Where is that?
A former Soviet republic, which used once, like the flag of, we have seen Moldavia or Transnistria, which is here. They used the same main idea. We have to look. No.
Maybe further down. Sorry, we're Germans. We have to look it up now.
Yes, we have no sense of humor, but we have to look it up.
And a sense of order.
Yes,
God
and here, I think I should be. Here maybe in this part. Well, it's just a little interlude. You see, here we have
there
it.
You go.
Yes, they used the same idea. Just the green stripe was light blue stripe.
So you are saying this flag here was formerly red and had a
light blue stripe.
Jesus.
And now you have the light blue stripe here. This flag of Uzbekistan represents, the Islam, which is the main religion in the country. You see the crescent and you see in this kind of green color for the Islam.
Well, Islam.
This represents the country and this the people and the peace of the peace.
And what's the little red stripes?
Just to separate.
So sometimes it's again practical reason.
And 12, and 12 stars for the 12 provinces.
Do you have any idea why this happened? Were there before 5 provinces or something like
No.
that? No.
No idea. I don't know where you brought this.
Yeah, it's true. I brought it. So let's say I'll try now. So if this would be used upside down, then the crescent moon would have to be turned and put into the right. You knew it. You knew that I would do wrong. But
yes.
I tried. At least I tried. I'm learning. Aha. This like has a pink lion. Is it a lion again? Is it a lion or a leopard?
It's a lion.
It's a lion. So we have a pink lion here. Which country uses a pink lion? No country.
The printer. No, it should be red. This is the flag of the Kingdom of Spain.
But most people know it without the coat of arms. So how come that this has a coat of arms?
Sometimes it's used with the coat of arms, sometimes not.
Does it have a meaning, or is that
no,
for practical reasons?
No. The main flag, of course, is this variation: red, gold, red. And as you can see, the red stripes are in both cases half of this golden stripe.
What does it mean?
It's just the symmetric idea of this flag. But why have I chosen this flag? It's the Spanish flag, and Spanish flag can also mean something different if you know the disease of yellow fever, which is also a virus disease. Specialist for viruses, Virus Online. This man is.
Yeah, I have a website, virusonline.de, but it's German. And he's.
But great, it's great. Learn German only for this website.
But again, you were talking about yellow fever because it was again the V and the F, so you know it's difficult for Germans. Yellow fever.
Yeah. And this yellow fever now has, if you want to find out if someone has yellow fever and you don't have a laboratory or a guy like this next to you, then one method to check it out is that you take the arm of someone and with your fingernail you will draw quickly a line on his skin. And if this yellow stripe, which is coming then out, remains for a long time, not like this, just for a second, and looks a bit like this flag, then the person is infected with yellow fever.
But the flag was not adapted to yellow fever, it was the other way around. First there was the flag and then people made this. Yellow fever is still very dangerous. There are many countries in which you cannot travel without vaccination against yellow fever.
Yes.
And what's with the pink line and the other little parts of the code of
That are the main parts of Spain, Castilla, Leon, Catalonia, Navarra, and, well, it looks like a flower, but it is, yes, it's Granada.
Granada. And this looks like a chain?
It is a chain,
It
yes.
is a chain. What does the chain mean?
Good question.
Okay, look it up and post it under this video.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, by the way, probably you heard about another pandemia, allegedly the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu did not come from Spain, it came from the United States.
Mm.
So, be careful and check your sources.
Yes.
How do you check sources as an historian? Do you go to the library and read old books, or do you do it all digital by now, or how does it work?
I'm happy that most of the old books, or a lot of the old books, are now digital. But yes, you have to read, you have to double check, triple check, and especially always try to go back to the sources, so to the written things in the archives and public record offices.
And we do that.
Documents.
For example, if it's necessary, we go to Vienna, for example, in the National Library, and then we look up something there.
Yes.
So you have to also to move and to travel.
Or to the Haushof and Staatsarchiv.
Exactly.
Oh, the last one.
Oh, really? Are we done? That
Yeah.
was quick. Man, time flies when it comes to flags. No,
Yes.
we're not. What Ines says the time is not flying. What do you mean? It's not interesting.
Just same time as the last time you make it.
Okay, that's good. I thought you were saying it's not interesting.
No.
What the heck? No, I'm just making fun. He thinks that I'm angry, but I'm not. So this looks like
Sword, yes. So this is the flag of Finland. Basically means this blue Scandinavian cross on white ground.
But I usually see the Finnish flag
Yes.
a straight line here. So what's
This variation here is a flag used by the President of Finland. Only. So like the President of the United States has his own seal, the seal of the President of the United States, or even the Vice President has, the President of Finland has his own flag. First of all, it has this shape, as you can see. Then it has here in the center of the cross the coat of arms of Finland and the National Order of Honor in this upper right corner.
with a flower? That's pretty peaceful, is it not?
Yes.
Because here I see swords here and swords there.
And the roses are here repeated, 9 silver roses for the 9 historical provinces. And if you have a close look into this cross, you see a yellow, hooked cross, a yellow swastika-like cross. Because in the northern parts, especially in the Baltic region, so also for Latvia, for example, or for Lithuania, this would be the case, this kind of cross has no connection with political things. It is a symbol for the sun, or maybe for happiness, for religious purposes.
Also used in India.
Oh,
yes.
yes. And the swastika, we know from the Nazis, was yes, in a certain way, also a mocking about the history of this cross, because they turned it 45 degrees, and that was for people in India a real kind of offense. It was a misuse of their symbol in their eyes.
Even an abuse, I would say. Huh?
Oh yeah,
abuse
is even better. You're completely right. And so you see, even the specialized flags, the flags used in special purposes can be very, very interesting.
No, one more thing. This looks like an Oriental sword to me. So what do Finnish people have to do with Oriental swords?
Well, Finland was up to 1918, more or less in the whole history of the country, part of another empire. For centuries, Sweden. And then it became, after the Napoleonic Wars, so we are here in the time of 1812, it became a part of Russia. And so this coat of arms represents a lion holding in his right and, you see, protected arm.
An arm with fingers, with human fingers.
A European-style sword.
Let's show the human fingers.
Yes. And he's walking on or even over, yatagan we can call it, so a Muscovite saber, which is used, for example, was used in the Russian army.
Because and after the Second World War, Finnish people and Russian people had severe beef. Severe beef. And you mentioned that the sword formerly was not trampled upon. But
he held it in his prank, in his left prank, but not like the sword ready to fight. More in a way like, I'm carrying here something with you. What is this?
What do you think about, as a vexicologically interested person, that one is a prank and the other one is a human hand? Is that a problem?
It's common. We have also eagles, for example, where the right wing is like this.
So there's a lot more fantasy and magic in flags than you probably would have expected.
Yes.
Is this, by the way, silver again, or?
It should be silver, yes, but today we say white.
Do you think that anybody ever uses metal plates at home, let's say for purposes that are very
They use
purposes?
The original metals in coat of arms for very, very special occasions, for example, for a throne or something like that. But normally it's replaced. It's so expensive.
Isn't silver and gold touching? Yeah.
This is specially made for the presidential flag, and then it's allowed.
In that case.
And even this is a modern flag, you see. Old heraldry here no longer has.
Doesn't apply.
Yeah.
If you want to produce a fanciful flag and want to get some approval if it's properly done, please ask PMK. He probably is interested. Probably not. It depends on what you can offer. How do you recognize all the years that you were mentioning? You just know all these years and are mentioning this. How do you do that?
Well, you know all those chemical elements and molecules. It's just.
Could you please show? You have a periodical system of elements.
Oh yes.
He's not only interested in trains, but also in the periodical system.
Yes, this is my notes in this book, and yes, there are people who know this by heart.
Fluor, chlor, brom, iod, astat, for example.
Yes.
So I know them out of my mind. And have you ever heard about a show that deals with periodical system of elements and trains and flags?
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Thank you very much. That was Peter Mario Kreuter, PhD, helping you and us and me and Ines out with vexillology, heraldry, historical sciences, and so on. How many countries do you think are there approximately right now?
Officially recognized, about 190.
And when it comes to historical countries, 5,000.
Don't ask.
Thank you very much for watching this program. Cheers.
Sehr gut hat das funktioniert.
Willst du jetzt noch Kaffee trinken? Oder, nicht?
Dann würde ich dir nur gerade eine Tasse geben. Ich hätte noch eine schöne Tasse im Angebot. Und vor allem, Entschuldigung, jetzt farblich, es ist keine Ahnung, woher das kommt. Das kommt noch von meiner Frau.
Oh, da musst du die Tasse aber mit Liebe behandeln.
Entschuldigung, alles hier ist auch von meiner Frau. Das ist ein ganzer Klipperkrempel.
Ach so.
Oder gemeinsam angeschafft. Also das hier zum Beispiel, dieses hier aus Bremen, Das waren immer Geschenke meiner Freundin in Böhmen. Gut.
Ja, von Touch, da bin ich schon jetzt schon
Nein.
bei Mustern.